y'all. Back here to show you some more of my recent finds. Most of the stuff here is pretty much filling in gaps in my collection. So, let's see. Probably not too much that's really obscure or rare, but some really good music here. First up is Sleater-Kinney from the Compact Extra label. I'm trying to collect most of these. And this is from Vogt and Vogt. That's a Wolfgang Vogt and Reinhard Vogt. And this is one of the best features in my opinion. It's just really good, straightforward, hard techno. That's got a really minimal, really powerful, and a better example of the Speicher series. So the songs here are Mittendrin and Vision 5. So that's Sleater-Kinney. And the next one here is one from Burning Spear. I just went to my local record store and was looking for something to get. This caught my eye because I knew I recognized the name Burning Spear. I knew they were a reggae band, but I hadn't really heard their music before. And this is their album from the late 80s, I believe. It's called People of the World. It's really good. I'm sure some of their earlier stuff is a bit better than this, but this is still a really good reggae album. Recommended for reggae fans. Burning Spear. It's not really. This one's not too rootsy. It's kind of more modern than the older stuff, I'm sure, but still a really good album. Happy to get it. It was really cheap and just not a bad buy. Another Speicher here. This one is Speicher-23. So that's Jake Farley and Peter Grumich. Another really good one. I think the other one I just shot was number 22, so this is number 23. And then we've got Speicher number 29. Reinhard Vogt again, and Robson Ponte. The other guy's name is on the B-side. Speicher-29. All of these are kind of cool. They all pretty much come with different color labels. Same Speicher symbol on the back and on the label, but it's really fun to collect these. And the music is really great. Great minimal techno. That's it for the Speichers. But this next one is Sensate Focus, the artist is called. It's actually a pseudonym of Mark Fell, who is an artist I've shown before. This is not quite as abstract as Mark Fell's other music. It's a bit more accessible, but still kind of out there. It's kind of abstract house music, experimental, electronic, just some really interesting stuff going on here. If you do like Mark Fell's other work, or if you like other experimental electronic music, I definitely recommend checking out Sensate Focus. That's actually his first release as Sensate Focus. It's called Sensate Focus 10. And I believe he has a new one called number 5, so I'll be looking for that too. And then we have, actually what's playing in the background right now is Mouse on Mars. I've got it playing on the computer over there. This is one of my favorite albums of the year. Again, this is it's a duo. Mouse on Mars is a duo. This is their 2012 release. Parastrophics it's called. Mouse on Mars, if you don't know, is a German IDM band, you could say. And they just make some really disjointed electronic music. I've heard some people saying that this one is not as good as a lot of their other stuff, but I think it is definitely up there in quality with their best work. It's a really great album. I mean, it is kind of disjointed, but if you listen carefully, it definitely has a flow to it. It's not just a random mess of sounds. It's really not. And it's just as experimental as a lot of their other stuff. Some of the tracks do have a bit more of a groove that you can actually dance to, some of them don't. but overall still a great album from Mouse on Mars, from one of my favorite IDM bands here, Mouse on Mars. So again, that was on white vinyl as I just showed you. Really great album. Then this one, I'm kind of embarrassed to even have gotten this. This is a Air Supply album. I was just kind of like the Burning Spear, just looking for something to buy. This time I wanted to just find something completely random. So I just put my finger down randomly on an album in the dollar bin. This is what I got. It's really not my kind of music. It's just really soft rock, kind of a post-disco kind of feel to it. It's kind of anthemic like disco music was, but it's not, definitely not dance music. Definitely not. And surprisingly, I actually knew a couple of the songs. Even the Nights Are Better. That's a song that I actually recognized, but probably not something I'm gonna wanna keep in my collection. I'll probably just give it away to someone. It's not really worth much, so. Probably won't be doing that kind of thing much more in the future, just picking random albums to buy. I'd rather go for something I know I already like. The next one here, album, is actually just the album title is album. There's a CD version that has the title Compact Disc, and a cassette version that's titled Cassette, but that's Public Image Limited. This is one of their releases from the late 80s, and I know people think their earlier music is the best. I wouldn't disagree with that, but this is still a really, really good album. Along with their album Happy and some of the other albums from that period, I think they did not decline in quality much. Still a very, very good, solid post-punk album from Public Image Limited. And next one is a reissue. This one is a big fat gatefold package. This is Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. This band I've known since early childhood. It was one of those bands that was played on the radio like 100 times a day. So I'm pretty much familiar with all these songs. Really, really familiar with all these songs, but surprisingly, I don't know about surprisingly, but this album is one of the few albums from that time, from that era, that I still love just as much as I did back then. So when it was reissued, I definitely wanted to get it. It comes with it's definitely a nice package. It's packaged well. It has this nice, I don't know what that's called, but when the paper is glued on there like that, I like the way the package is designed. The pressing might not be the best quality. It doesn't sound really special, but it's still a really good album. Nice to have it on vinyl. So again, that's Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. And next one is Sleater-Kinney, Dig Me Out. Late 90s alternative rock, indie alternative rock. One of my favorite bands and one of my favorite albums from the band. This is great 90s alternative rock. A couple of the members have gone on to form Wild Flag recently, which in its own right is a really good brand. So Sleater-Kinney, definitely check them out if you don't know them. Then I got a Yellow Tango album. Another of my favorite bands here. The album is called And Then Nothing Turned Inside Itself. A reissue on Matador Records, gatefold. I'll show this one too. I think this one is on 120 gram vinyl, which is good enough for me. I think 120 gram is just fine. Nothing wrong with that. Probably not my favorite album from them, but still a great album. It's a lot more ambient than their other work. But it does have That's probably one of my favorite covers from a Yellow Tego album. So, one was nice to get. And the last one I have to show here is a reissue of the album Pandemonium from Killing Joke. Released in '94, I want to say. Killing Joke has changed their sound a lot through the years. You know, they started as a post-punk band, and in the '80s they kind of incorporated some of the modern synths into their music, started to go a bit new wave. With this album, it's actually pretty industrial. It's harder rock than the other stuff they did. It's also got some electronic elements. A couple of the songs actually have what's like a techno beat to it. It's really strange, but they pull it off really well. It's a successful album, I think. Probably not my favorite Killing Joke album, but it's up there. It's maybe my fourth favorite Killing Joke album. That's a really good one. So Pandemonium again, and that's it. There are a couple threads I want to answer, which I'll do this week and next week hopefully. So until then, bye.